In this video, I'll be looking at how we can enhance our images for screen and print presentation using a keyline, and then moving on to how we can generate a frame with a drop shadow. I'll be doing this in Adobe Photoshop, but this process and the application of keylines and frames can be adapted to suit whichever software package you're using for editing of your images. I currently have my image selected in Lightroom, so let's go ahead and open this in Adobe Photoshop. And here we have it now open in Photoshop, ready to do the edit. First, let's prepare our image for editing. Let's double click the background layer and create a editable layer ready for processing. Let's then go up to our image and change our canvas size. We want to make this relative and keep our image in the center. Now, this is quite a wide and high image, so even for a narrow keyframe, I'm going to set my width to 20. If this was a 1080 by 1920 landscape, for example, you may just want to set that to 5 or 10 pixels for a narrow keyline around the frame. So let's go ahead and enter that. You can see now that we've got a transparent layer around our image. Now that we have our image size defined for our keyline, let's now add a fill layer in the background. So first of all, I will create a new fill layer. I use white quite a lot, but obviously from this point you can select the color that you require, whether you want white, black. Again, for this image I want white, so I will select that, and we now have that, but you see that it's created at the front. So what we now need to do is drag that layer to the background, and there we have a keyline. This works particularly well for screen presentation. If you're going to be printing this on white paper, for example, you may pick a different color. You may pick a blue or a black just to enhance the colors for printing. But obviously that can be done just at the time you create the fill layer. We can now go ahead and save our file. I prefer to use save as, the default is TIFF, and I prefer to save them as PSD files for future editing. And we can go ahead and save our file. And if we wanted to share this on, say, social media or whatever platform we want to do, we can also either export it, either do a quick export or an export as. And as you'll see, it actually, the keyframe really enhances the image for posting on social media or sharing on whatever platform you require. I'll now move on to creation of a frame, but before I do, just to let you know that I will be doing a short gallery at the end of this video showing some sample keyline and frames against different formats and black and white versus colour and the difference that those can make. And if you are finding this useful, please feel free to like and subscribe. That would very much be in support of the channel going forward. Thank you very much. And now let's get on with looking at how we can create a frame with this image. So again, let's open our image in Photoshop. Here we go, so let's get started. First things first, let's again double click our layer to make it sure that our background layer is editable again. Now that our layer is editable, let's increase our canvas size. This time what I'm going to be doing is increasing it by a percentage rather than as a fixed pixel amount. So what I'm going to be doing is 20% on the width, and because the height is shorter than the width, I'm actually going to increase that by about 40%. So that'll give me approximately the right ratio. Some of this you will find your favorites as you start to use these techniques more and more. Again, it's time to create our layer. So let's create that fill layer. We'll do the solid color again. And again, I'm selecting white at this point, and we will then drag that to be behind. So now you can see that our image is framed quite nicely within that background. So whilst this goes some way to enhance the image, what I really want to do is make the image stand out. So what I will do is I will select my layer 0 and double click the icon to bring up the properties and the styles. So let's actually look at adding a drop shadow. So let's select that, and you can see immediately it's having a bit of an impact on the picture in the background on the image that we've got. So what I may want to do here, I may want to just increase that drop shadow a little bit just to give it further enhancement. Again, some of this is trial and error and potential what your personal preference is, but I'm going to go with something around there, a little bit darker. You can change the contours. Again, some of this is trial and error. I'm just going through the basics of how you can enhance your image, and that makes the image really stand out on the frame. Here are a few images showing the keyline and frames impacting images and how they can be presented and enhanced using these simple techniques. I would recommend that you now go away and have a bit of trial and error within Photoshop or your preferred editing software to actually have a play with these to enhance your own images. And if you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and feel free to comment. And thank you very much for your time and your ongoing support for the channel.